There is something terrifying yet seductive about the figure of the devil, a concept that has haunted human consciousness for millennia. The devil is not merely a religious symbol or a cultural archetype. It is the embodiment of the darkest aspects of human existence. The devil represents rebellion, chaos, suffering, temptation, and the unrelenting force of destruction. He is the eternal outsider, cast out of the heavens and condemned to lurk in the shadows, waiting for the moment to strike and unravel the fragile threads that bind human morality and order. The allure of the devil is deeply intertwined with the nature of evil, and by extension, the nature of humanity itself. From the pages of ancient scriptures to modern philosophical inquiry, the devil serves as a mirror, reflecting back at us our fears, desires, and the unspoken truths we dare not confront. The devil isn't merely an entity separate from us, wreaking havoc from the infernal depths of hell. He is an inescapable part of who we are, a manifestation of the chaos that lives within every human soul. At first glance, the devil appears to be a figure wholly defined by malevolence. But a closer inspection reveals something far more complex. To truly understand the devil is to understand the paradox of existence, the constant struggle between light and dark, creation and destruction, good and evil. The devil embodies all that is forbidden, all that society deems corrupt and dangerous. But he also represents freedom, individuality, and defiance against the oppressive forces of order. And herein lies the hook. The devil, in all his darkness, is not just a villain, but also a tragic hero of sorts. He is the one who dared to challenge the divine, to question authority, and to embrace the full spectrum of existence, even if it meant eternal damnation. As we delve into the philosophy of the devil, we are forced to confront the uncomfortable truths about the human condition. Why do we fear the devil? Is it because he represents the evil that we try to suppress within ourselves? Or is it because he symbolizes the ultimate freedom, the freedom to act without restraint, to pursue desires unburdened by the weight of morality or consequence? The story of the devil, in many ways, is the story of humanity's struggle with the concept of evil. Most religious traditions view the devil as the antagonist to a benevolent, all-powerful God, a being who tempts and corrupts humanity, leading them astray from the path of righteousness. But the philosophical exploration of the devil opens up a more nuanced discussion. Is evil inherent in the world, or is it something we create? Can the devil be viewed as a necessary counterbalance to the forces of good? Or is he merely a projection of our darkest impulses? One of the most compelling aspects of the devil is his role as a rebel. In Christian theology, the devil is often depicted as Lucifer, the light bringer, a once glorious angel who defied God and was cast out of heaven for his pride and ambition. Lucifer's rebellion can be seen as the ultimate act of defiance, a rejection of divine authority, and a refusal to accept the established order. From this perspective, the devil is not merely evil for the sake of evil. He is a figure who challenges the status quo, who dares to seek power and autonomy, even if it comes at the cost of eternal suffering. This image of the devil as a rebellious, tragic figure has resonated deeply with thinkers throughout history. In John Milton's Paradise Lost, for example, the devil, though undeniably wicked, is portrayed with a sense of dignity and grandeur. His famous declaration, "Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven," speaks to the allure of independence, the desire to forge one's own destiny, even in the face of overwhelming odds. The devil's refusal to bow to authority, to accept a subservient role in the cosmic order, makes him a symbol of individualism and the struggle for self-actualization. Yet this quest for autonomy comes with a price. The devil's fall from grace is a cautionary tale about the dangers of hubris and unchecked ambition. In his desire for power, the devil becomes a prisoner of his own ego, condemned to an existence defined by suffering, hatred, and isolation. The devil's rebellion is ultimately a hollow victory. While he may have gained his independence, he has lost everything else, including his sense of purpose and connection to the divine. This paradox lies at the heart of the devil's philosophy, the tension between freedom and suffering, power and alienation. To embrace the devil is to embrace the full spectrum of human experience, both the heights of glory and the depths of despair. It is to acknowledge that with great power comes great responsibility, and that the pursuit of personal autonomy can lead to both enlightenment and destruction. The devil's association with temptation is another key aspect of his philosophical significance. In many traditions, the devil is not simply a force of outright destruction. Rather, he is a tempter, a manipulator who exploits human weakness and desire. The devil doesn't force people to commit evil acts, he merely presents them with choices, leaving it up to individuals to decide their own fate. This raises important questions about the nature of free will and morality. Is the devil truly evil, or is he merely exposing the flaws in human nature? Temptation is often framed as a test, a way to reveal the true character of an individual. The devil's role in this process is to act as a catalyst, pushing people to confront their own desires and weaknesses. From this perspective, the devil can be seen not as an antagonist, but as a necessary figure in the moral development of humanity. Without the devil, there would be no temptation, no struggle, and therefore no growth. The devil, in his own twisted way, is a teacher, a guide who forces humanity to confront its own darkness and learn from it. But the devil's relationship with humanity is not purely adversarial. In some philosophical traditions, particularly those influenced by Gnosticism, the devil is seen as a liberator, a figure who offers humanity knowledge and freedom from the oppressive forces of the divine. In the Gnostic myth, the material world is a prison, created by a malevolent god to trap human souls. The devil, in this context, is a being who offers salvation by revealing the truth about the nature of reality and encouraging individuals to seek enlightenment outside the constraints of the physical world. This idea of the devil as a liberator is particularly fascinating because it turns traditional notions of good and evil on their head. In this view, the devil is not the enemy of humanity, but its savior, offering an escape from the limitations of the material world and the false promises of conventional morality. The devil represents a form of spiritual rebellion, a rejection of the superficial, materialistic values that dominate society. Yet even in this more positive interpretation, the devil remains a figure of profound ambiguity. His gift of knowledge and freedom comes with a price, one that often leads to suffering and isolation. The Gnostic devil, much like his Christian counterpart, represents both the potential for enlightenment and the danger of hubris. By offering humanity the tools to transcend their earthly existence, the devil also tempts them with the illusion of power and control, leading many down a path of destruction. The devil, then, is not a one-dimensional figure of evil, but a complex, multifaceted symbol that embodies the full range of human experience. He is at once a rebel, a tempter, a liberator, and a destroyer. His philosophy is one of paradoxes and contradictions, reflecting the inherent duality of existence. Perhaps the most disturbing aspect of the devil's philosophy is its reflection of our own inner struggles. The devil, in all his darkness, is not some external force to be feared or fought. He is a part of us, a manifestation of the chaos and uncertainty that lies within every human soul. The devil's rebellion is our own rebellion against authority and control. His temptations are the temptations we face in our daily lives, and his suffering is the price we pay for our pursuit of power and autonomy. In this sense, the devil is not merely a figure of evil, but a reflection of the human condition itself. We are all, in some ways, like the devil, struggling to find our place in a world that is often indifferent, hostile, and chaotic. We are all tempted by the allure of freedom and power, and we are all capable of great evil when those desires go unchecked. Yet, just as the devil's rebellion led to his downfall, so too can our own pursuit of autonomy and power lead to suffering and destruction. The devil's philosophy serves as a reminder that while freedom and individuality are important, they must be tempered with humility, compassion, and an understanding of the consequences of our actions. Without these, we risk becoming prisoners of our own desires, trapped in a hell of our own making. The devil is not an easy figure to understand, and his philosophy is not one that offers simple answers. But in exploring the nature of the devil, we gain insight into the darker aspects of ourselves and the world around us. The devil's story is a cautionary tale, a warning about the dangers of unchecked ambition, temptation, and rebellion. Yet it is also a story of freedom, individuality, and the eternal struggle for meaning in a chaotic, indifferent universe. The devil, in all his darkness, offers a path, not a path to salvation, but a path to understanding. He forces us to confront our fears, our desires, and our limitations. And in doing so, he reveals the truth about the human condition. That we are all, in some way, caught between heaven and hell, struggling to find our place in a world that is both beautiful and terrifying, full of both light and darkness. Caught between heaven and hell, the human condition mirrors the devil's eternal plight. For we too are bound by the dualities of existence, light and darkness, good and evil, creation and destruction. The devil, as an archetype, strips away the comforting illusions that shield us from these truths, leaving us vulnerable to the chaotic forces that govern our lives. He is not merely a figure of terror, but an embodiment of the paradoxical nature of freedom. To be free is to embrace both the possibility of greatness and the inevitability of suffering. The allure of the devil lies in this very complexity. In the human quest for autonomy, we are often drawn to the idea of breaking free from the chains of societal norms, much like the devil's rebellion against divine authority. But with this freedom comes a terrifying responsibility, for without moral constraints, without an anchor to guide our actions, we risk descending into a state of chaos. The devil, in his refusal to submit, offers a glimpse into what it means to live without limits, a life where one's will is the only law. But what happens when the only law is one's own desire? This is where the devil's philosophy becomes truly insidious. Temptation, in its most seductive form, is not the offer of something foreign or external. It is the stirring of our deepest, most secret longings. The devil knows us intimately, not as a distant, malicious force, but as a reflection of the parts of ourselves that we refuse to acknowledge. He is the whisper in the back of our minds, urging us to indulge in the very things we fear or repress. In yielding to the devil's temptations, we do not merely commit acts of evil, we confront our own potential for self-destruction. The devil doesn't need to lead us to ruin. He merely opens the door. It is our own hand that turns the handle, our own feet that walk the path. The devil's brilliance lies in his ability to expose the fragile line between desire and destruction, making us realize that we are capable of far more evil than we might care to admit. And yet, in this confrontation with the devil, there is also a strange form of liberation. To face the devil is to face the truth about ourselves. It is to acknowledge that within every human being lies a capacity for both creation and destruction, love and hatred, order and chaos. The devil's existence forces us to question the very nature of morality itself. Are we truly moral beings, or are we simply creatures constrained by fear and consequence? The darkest revelation of the devil's philosophy is that morality might be little more than a construct, a fragile set of rules designed to keep the chaos at bay. The devil, in his rebellion, offers an alternative one that is terrifying in its implications. If we abandon these rules, if we reject the constraints imposed by society and religion, what remains? The devil's answer is stark: only power, desire, and the will to act. Yet this is not the kind of freedom that brings peace or fulfillment. The devil's freedom is hollow, a freedom that isolates rather than connects, that separates rather than unifies. In seeking to escape the constraints of divine authority, the devil becomes trapped in an existence defined by his own hatred and suffering. His rebellion, rather than leading to true liberation, results in eternal exile, a fate that serves as a warning to those who might follow in his footsteps. To embrace the devil's philosophy is to walk a dangerous path, one that promises autonomy but delivers only despair. The pursuit of power for its own sake, the rejection of moral boundaries, and the indulgence of desire without consequence, These are the hallmarks of the devil's worldview, and they are also the seeds of destruction. The devil's story is, at its core, a tragedy. He is a figure who sought greatness, but found only ruin, who desired freedom, but ended up enslaved by his own ego. And yet, despite his fall, the devil remains a figure of fascination, not because of his evil, but because he embodies the darker truths about the human experience. He forces us to confront the uncomfortable reality that freedom is not without cost, that power can corrupt, and that the line between good and evil is far more fragile than we might like to believe. The devil's philosophy, then, is not simply about the nature of evil, it is about the complexity of human existence. It is about the struggle to balance our desires with our responsibilities, our ambitions with our limitations. It is about the eternal tension between chaos and order, between the drive for individual autonomy and the need for connection and morality. And perhaps most of all, it is about the price we pay for seeking to live without limits, for daring to challenge the forces that seek to control us. In the end, the devil is not just a figure to be feared, he is a symbol of the choices we all must make. Will we follow the path of rebellion, of unchecked ambition and desire, and risk the same fate as the devil? Or will we find a way to navigate the tensions between freedom and morality, power and humility, without falling into the abyss? These are the questions that the devil's philosophy leaves us with, and they are questions that, like the devil himself, have no easy answers.